Hello, everyone. It is Stacy with Real Life Psychology and Life Coaching. And today's topic is boundaries. And I am talking about real boundaries here. Guess what? Boundaries are rules we put in place for ourselves. They are not for other people. Are you ready? Let's sit on the couch. All right, everybody, I've gotten comfortable on the couch. I hope you're comfortable on the couch. And the topic today is boundaries. Now, a lot of people think that with boundaries, that these are things that you set for other people not to cross. It's not true at all. The boundaries are really for yourself. One of the things that is really important is when you set boundaries, you make sure you abide by them, and therefore no one else can overstep those boundaries. For example, emotional boundaries. A lot of times people are like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about that. Then don't. It is your life. It is your responsibility to protect what is sacred to you. So if you're out and you're being mindful, and you are out and someone asks you a question that you don't want to answer, don't lie about it. Just tell them simply, I don't want to talk about that. That's not something I'm willing to share right now. It doesn't have to be rude. It doesn't have to be disrespectful, but you are setting that boundary with people to tell them, don't bring this topic up with me. For example, if I'm out somewhere and we're at a party or we're somewhere and I'm feeling uncomfortable because someone comes to me and starts talking to me about somebody else at the party, and I don't have a problem with this person. I don't want to agree with you, but I don't want you to think that I don't agree with you, but I don't really want to engage. If this is your opportunity to tell them where you stand. This is your opportunity. And I've learned this in a personal situation. Things happen and I just kind of sat and listened and didn't say anything. And it made it seem like I was also a culprit to that. So when you set boundaries by letting people know, look, I don't want to gossip. I don't want to talk about people in a negative light. If those people are not around me, don't bring them up because I don't want to address their issues when they're not around, because that's something that they have personally told me privately. Then you let the person know these are boundaries that you've set. So prior to this, I always felt like if someone asked me a question or addressed something, I had to answer it. Now I'm aware that with my boundaries, I don't have to respond to that. If you send me a message and say, oh, this girl is so ugly, I don't have to respond to that. I may not think that. I may think it, but I don't have to respond to it. If my boundaries are not to discuss negativity of other people and you put me in that position to where you're requesting me to do something I've already told you I don't want to do, I don't have to answer that. So boundaries are set for you. They are set to allow you to feel safe. They allow us to take control for our lives and make our own choices, and they keep us focused. If you're constantly doing things you don't want to do, that's not keeping you focused. You're not doing what it is that you're respectively trying to accomplish and take over. So think of boundaries as rules you put into place for your life to follow in order to live your best life possible. People don't necessarily even need to know your boundaries, but when they're about to cross them or when they're on that border and you address certain things, you let them know. For example, I have some friends that like to go out and go to clubs. I am 45. I'm not saying it's off the table, but typically if I'm going out to a club, I'm going to go with my husband. I'm going to go with, people that are celebrating a birthday or something like that. I'm not really clubbing right now. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going out to dinners. I'm networking. I'm spending time at people's houses that I feel are, people I want to invest my time in. So when you're constantly asking me to go to a club or go to a bar or to meet people that I'm not interested in meeting, and I'm telling you no, that means you haven't kind of gotten my boundary. So I have actually sent messages to people telling them, please do not invite me to this because I'm not going to come. Don't invite me to a bar. Don't invite me to a club because I'm not going. Those are not things I'm interested in. If those are things you're interested in, maybe you should go with the people that are interested in doing those things. But I'm obviously not. And when you set those boundaries with people, they're fully aware. Now, if they keep inviting you to that, then you have to determine, which is going to be a whole nother topic, if they are even friendship worthy. Because why would a real friend keep inviting you somewhere that you know and they know you don't want to go, and you've already set that boundary? You going makes you violate that boundary. It's not them asking you to go, it's you going. You're violating your own boundaries at this point. So when you make rules and boundaries for yourself, not to talk about people, and you do, you're crossing that line, not somebody else. If you say, I'm not a drinker, and you drink, you're crossing that line, not somebody asking you to drink or giving you the drink. You are the only one that can cross those boundaries for yourself. One of the biggest things is time boundaries. You can't, like, people will constantly ask me, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And it's not negativity. I'm not shooting down anybody for doing that. But if I don't have time to do it, I have to let them know today is not a good day for me. I used to pile on so much stuff. I mean, you guys, literally, you would not believe how many people would ask me for certain things. And it's not a brag, or it's not a dig at people. It's just that my plate got so full that I was unable to do things that were important to me because I was keeping promises to other people about stuff. So now I politely say, I'm sorry, I just don't have time for that. Or if you want me to do that, I only have time this week. If it's not this week, I won't be able to do it. So don't even waste your time asking me. It's not like I'm trying to be mean or negative, but I am doing stuff that is promoting me to be happy, to be healthy, to be less frustrated, to have boundaries set so that I know for myself what I'm capable of. And I think that's one of the biggest things is people are not really taking accountability for their decisions in their life. They're putting it off on other people. This person did this person. No. You allowed them to do that. You allowed them to sit and talk to you and tell you that. You didn't have to listen. You allowed them to ask you to go to a club and you said yes and you went. You broke that boundary. They don't keep overstepping their boundaries. You keep overstepping your own boundaries. So with that being said, there's so many different things like certain topics that are boundaries. Some people don't talk about politics. Some people don't talk about religion. Some people don't talk about sex or drugs or rock and roll, but there are things that people choose not to talk about. And those are things that they set boundaries for, and they're specific and it's for a reason. And it's not necessarily things to hide. It's just, those are things that a lot of people disagree on. And why put yourself out there in a situation where you don't want to talk about those things? You already have your stance. You're not going to change them. Why even talk about them? So therefore, those are the things where you have to start, weighing options. Another big boundary thing is physical. Now, I get it when you're like, they overstep their boundaries. No, because guess what? Your space and certain things you have to allow people to understand. Like, one of my biggest things is I like things in a certain place. When people come to my home, some people in my house will do something simple. Like if my glass is here and they move it over here, I'm one of those people that if I notice it, I'm going to move it back. I'm not even going to say anything. It's just in my nature. It's just what I do. Because I like things a certain way. So if they move it in a jokingly way and I move it back, it's no big deal. I know they're doing it because they're trying to see if I'm paying attention that day. But if I have a group of people at my house and some people are in my closet or upstairs in rooms they're not supposed to be in, I feel like those are boundaries that are crossed, and I let them know, hey, I don't like people upstairs in those spaces, or I don't want people in my closet getting my clothes out without asking me. Those are boundaries. A lot of people typically know these things, but some people you got to tell, everybody's not the same. You can't expect people to automatically know what your boundaries are. So for me, if I ask you certain things and you don't abide by them at my home, guess what? You're not getting an invite back. It's not rocket science, people. It's boundaries that you set that it's not like, oh, they overstepped these boundaries, I'm not dealing with them. Oh, no. No, it's a way of you to determine who is gracious enough to be in your life and who is not, and who you're comfortable around and who you're not. And, determines you as a person, what you like, what you're used to, what you're comfortable with. I mean, there's so many different ways, and there's boundaries that people set because they've been through things. Like for the physical boundaries, some people don't like to be touched. Now, this is funny, And it's not anything, crazy, but we had went to Disneyland when last year in October. It was me, my niece, my grandson, and my husband. And so we went to Disneyland. And when we were at we were at our hotel, we were having breakfast. The waiter put his arm or his hand on my grandson's shoulder. And mind you, he's 1.5 at this point. He's just barely 2 now. And immediately he moved his shoulder and looked up at the guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. And I'm laughing, thinking that is so funny. But as a 2-year-old, he already knows his boundaries. He knows, I don't want strangers touching me. I don't want some guy I don't even know placing his hand on me. So he moved, and that immediately set that boundary for that waiter. And that's as simple as it has to be. If there are people around you that you feel are breaking boundaries, you may need to address those boundaries with them. For example, if you have people around you that talk about things you don't want to talk about, address that. Let them know, I don't feel comfortable talking about this. If they're physical boundaries where somebody's always too close, like they're, you back up a little bit, they come a little closer, you let them know, personal space. The boundaries is more about what you're comfortable with than what other people are comfortable with. They might be comfortable talking to people like this. You may not be. So you have to let them know that. Your space and how you like to keep things. You let people know that I'm pretty tidy. So if you come to my house, I like people to pick up after each other or put their glasses on coasters or, whatever. It's not a big deal. But when you make those boundaries and you make those limitations, that's when people either respect them or they don't. And that's when you make your decisions based off of the people you want to be around and invest your time in. One of the biggest things for me with boundaries is privacy. What I want people to know, I post. Where I'm at, where I'm going, whatever. It doesn't really matter to me. It's not a big deal. Some people are very private, or whatever. But for me, my privacy is a big deal. What I want you to know, I will tell you. So if I'm venting to somebody one day and telling them something, that doesn't mean I want it all over social media or I don't want everybody to know about it. So I'm picking and choosing who I decide to tell things to, because guess what? That is still a boundary for you. If you're telling everybody everything, you can't get mad at them for telling. You told them. If there's something you don't want people to know, don't tell them. If you can't keep your mouth shut, how can you expect them to do the same if you're out telling everybody everything? Like, it is need to know basis for some things. Now, I'm a pretty open book, pretty much. I mean, honestly, one of my biggest problems is I get with people, I get comfortable, and I just talk. I don't feel like I should have to guard what I'm saying with people that I value spending my time with. I'm not being malicious. I'm not being negative. I'm not being, whatever. But sometimes people take things and they twist them. So when you're setting boundaries, you have to make sure that you're setting boundaries with people, with places, with things, with conversations, with growth, everything. You have to keep in mind that boundaries are meant to make you feel safe, not whoever you're dealing with. They have their own boundaries for what they consider safe. You wouldn't be able to determine that for them. And then, like I said, you're keeping focused. If you're spending most of your time doing things you don't want to do in the first place, that's not promoting well-being for you, because you're stressed, you're negative, you're irritated, you're doing things that you don't even really want to do. So one of the boundaries that I set for myself is from now on, if I really don't want to do something, I'm not doing it. That means going places. That means being around people. That means conversations. That means helping people. That means a lot. If I genuinely don't want to do it, if someone's, "Oh, you want to go to a concert?" No, I don't even like them. I don't want to get up and get dressed and do all that just to please you to go out with them. It's not being mean. It's being you. You are enjoying what you want to do with your life and your time. You don't owe anybody anything, nothing. You owe you to be the best person you can be, to be motivated, to be driven, to excel. And it's a little emotional here because, I have been through so many things and I still try to promote happiness and well-being and growth with people. And, I'm not trying to be all a Debbie Downer, or anything like that. At the end of the day, I think it's because I'm passionate. It's why I'm feeling this way, is because I'm passionate. I'm passionate about people living their best life and doing the things that they genuinely want to do. So with boundaries, make sure you are making boundaries for yourself, not for others, because boundaries are not for other people. They are for you. So with that being said, and honestly, I'm going to, dig into it a little more. But with that being said, take today to set some boundaries. Set boundaries on what you are willing to do. What you don't have to sit down with a pen and paper and have all these lists. But what you really should do is have at least 3 boundaries in your life. 3 boundaries that will allow you to feel safe, to feel like you have a choice in your life, and for you to stay focused. 3 boundaries. If you can't come up with anything, at least start off with 1. What is the one thing that you and your friends and everybody do that makes you happy? And continue to do it. Be honest, be, truthful, be outgoing, be whatever it is with you. Make a promise to yourself to be that best you can be. All right, everybody, we had our seat on the couch. I have enjoyed it. If you get a chance to, please make a comment on what you think about this video. Like and subscribe, because I'm going to keep them coming for you. I am excited about my new journey, you guys. I am emotional, I am dedicated, and I am ready, because I am the new psychologist coming out here for you. All right, guys, have a good day.